the virtuous man is not a person for Nietzsche. And I'm not sure if you mean, clearly he's a biological entity, but he hasn't attained personhood in a philosophical sense because his actions are determined by an external force. The idea of true personhood is an ability to be the sort of locus of freedom in creative action, not in choice, which I've discussed before, right? He says, but acquires his value by conforming to a pattern of man that is fixed once and for all, right? You attain identity through conformity. And what you end up recognizing is that you have, this is the institution of social order, how you are to peacefully do X, right? In filing a grievance with the court, you are to address the court in the following manner. In organizing and protesting against the state, you are to do so in the following manner. In being a good wife and being a good husband, you are to conduct yourself in the following manner. That paradigm is constructed by the social order. Obviously, this becomes social norms. Those norms are set into place to, obviously, homogenize, right? It's not about distinction, it's about sameness, right? So what he says is, if there's one person in there, or if there's an infinity of persons in there, right? If there's one person, there's two people, three people, or infinite many people, what you recognize immediately is not about the person. This is why I don't need to root this historically or in cases, because it's conceptual, it's purely, wholly, this is a priori conceptual, right? Prior to the experience of any individual human being, independent to experience of any human being, I recognize that I can construct a system that determines the nature of human beings. The system that I'm going to use, for example, to construct the nature of human beings is one which articulates human needs in terms of shelter and clothing and happiness and love and friendship and belongingness and social prowess and recognition. But that's just a story, right? To say that that is fundamentally what human beings need in order to survive presupposes that that set of characteristics is exhaustive. I have framed all of human need in that sort of Maslowian sense, right? I've framed it entirely. It's ridiculous. It's profoundly ridiculous, right? And there is no reverence that we should have for the old at all. The whole point is to perpetually reconstruct, right? The change becomes not the goal, right? Change can't be the goal. Change becomes the means in which we continually refine who it is and what it is that we are. You cannot have the institution tell you what it is that you are. You have to make the determination. You have to express who it is and what it is that you are, not the other way around, right? So, this does not stand in contrast to the conforming pattern, but is identified by it. The individual isn't outside. In contrast, right? It's not the individual as not a biconditional, but me in relation to this structure, the structure in relation to me. It's that the individual is defined by the structure. So you have two individuals, right? You have the free autonomous agent who can make critiques of the system of control, of social order, and then the individual who is defined by social order. And this is very, very important. Freire talks a lot about sort of the nature of this intellectual imprisonment, right? You can imagine if you're a canary in a bird cage, that if you really, really zoom in at a micro level at each individual bar, you don't recognize that the bars are structured in a way for the specific purpose of confining you. You have to take a step back. And what does that mean in a sort of a real world sense? It means that you cannot recognize the structures of intellectual subjugation that are imposed on you until you have a recognition and an understanding of the tools used to build that system, right? So in terms of logic, I recognize that I can create as an evil logician, a false dichotomy. I wouldn't inform you of what a false dichotomy is. I'd say you can choose A or you can choose B. You exercise your freedom in choosing either, knowing that no matter which option you choose, it benefits me as a detriment to yourself. If you haven't been properly educated in sort of, that is a very simple, basic tactic, then you are going to think that insofar as you have made a choice, you have freely expressed yourself as an autonomous agent, and you haven't. Your decision has been constructed and ordained by those who have more intelligence and power than you. So you're weak, and you will be led. Right? The whole point is you cannot arrive at autonomous human agency without education. It's impossible. You're not going to do it. Because everything around you has been intentfully constructed to include people and to exclude others, including the institution of education. Right? So what I'm doing by giving lectures to you for free is raging against the machine, because you're not supposed to be included in this discussion. Unless you have $3,000 to sit in my class, you're not supposed to get this. Right? Because my students pay a lot of money to listen to me lecture. And it's not fair, quote unquote, for you to be listening to this lecture for free, because you didn't pay for it. But, you know, what are you going to do? I'm irreverent. I really don't care. So the act of conforming is, last page, page 57. The act of conforming is typically facilitated by your desire to be accepted. Right? People enter this institution of social order. They enter this institution of conformity because they want to fit in, right? So as an academic, there's certain things that I should do, right? There's a certain way I should dress. There's a certain way I should talk. There's a certain, you know, you believe this, and then you come in an institution, you find out academics are the most, we're an odd lot of people, right? There really isn't any type. When you're undergrad and when you're green, you think, oh yeah, I want to get the jacket with the leather elbow patches, and I want to get a pipe and grow my beard all crazy. Philosophers never shave. I don't know why, but they never shave. So when I was an undergrad and a graduate student, I had my beard like down to like my chest. I was just disheveled and dirty, because I thought, well, to be a philosopher, you got to be dirty. Because all of us were dirty. But then you recognize, no, I'm trying to fit in. I'm trying to conform. The institution is set up to make you conform. You have people say, the young kids, they'll say, oh, well, I'm emo. You know, I'm emo, and, you know, I'm just not part of the cool kids. But you're conforming to the paradigm of what it is to be an emo. You dress like an emo. You ascribe the brand emo to yourself. You talk like an emo. You listen to emo music. You're conforming, right? The true individual is nobody. You just, you know, you don't even know that I exist, per se, because I'm just doing me. I'm not trying to be like anybody else, right? The acceptance gained in conforming, right? The feeling of acceptance gained in conforming is pleasurable. And I mean this both in a literal and physical. Biologically pleasurable. If you go to a protest rally and you hear everyone getting passionate and people crying and people laughing, you biologically feel a sense of connection, right? So that, you know, pharmacologically, it would be awesome to do, I'm sure there's studies out there, it would be awesome to do a pharmacological sort of assessment. I don't know how you could do it real time, but it would be awesome to do a pharmacological assessment of sort of the brain chemistry of someone in, you know, at a church where, you know, everyone's sort of connected in the church, or at a sports event, or at a protest, or at a rally, so on, right? This sense of community biologically has to trigger endorphins to make me feel accepted. Right? So that there's a biological basis for conformity. You want to feel connected to other people. You don't want to be the odd guy out. What Nietzsche is saying is, no, you need to pride yourself in being the odd man out. I'm not trying to be like you. I don't want to be connected. It's nothing conflictual. There's not a threat. But the idea is, I'm an autonomous agent. I don't want to be like you. I am not looking for your validation and your acceptance. That's what Nietzsche's saying, right? So Pippo in his commentary, he made a really good point. Just click the link. It'll take you to the video at 26 minutes and 10 seconds. 26 minutes, 10 seconds. He talks about the hegemony of the popular. He says hegemony is popular. And I just thought that was, I mean, he and Ian Mathewes just said a whole bunch of, it was